Hi everyone, it's Elizabeth here. So I wanted to do this quick video in regards to the real love triangle. Um, so things are obviously falling apart. We're dividing ourselves to some degree in this society, and love relationships have also been falling apart. Divorce is constantly on an all-time high as we progress through modern society. So I think we have to get back to some of the basics and understandings of who we are for any relationship, whether it is romantic or just friendship, and loving your fellow humans. That is the one of the greatest tools or lessons from Christianity is the whole love thy neighbor. Now, it's not walking into any relationship being blindsided and just looking at people through rosy colored glasses and completely accepting everybody for who they are and letting kind of the trash or garbage into your life. You have to have some borders and boundaries. There is some wisdom that has to be used when navigating what type of friendships and relationships that you want in your life. When you look at romantic relationships, yes, romantic relationships should be more of an asset than a liability. Liabilities can really bring you down. For some, it can wreck and ruin their lives. It can destroy their lives. So, how I was thinking about this real love triangle was based on a quote that I saw by Vera Nazarian. Hopefully, I said that right. And the quote is: "Love is made up of three unconditional properties in equal measure: acceptance, understanding, appreciation. Remove any of the three, and the triangle falls apart." Which, by the way, is something highly inadvisable. Think about it. Do you really want to live in a world of only two dimensions? So, for the love of a triangle, please keep love whole. And that's really interesting because the triangle, is that pyramid that you have to have all 3 points of contact in contact in order for that structure, that pyramid, to stay alive. And even in spirituality, the number 3 is a very spiritual number, or like in Christianity, you have the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. So it's like the triad is a very important tool. So we are being bred or socially engineered to not accept one another. We are becoming highly intolerable or intolerant of one another. But in terms of whether you want to use this theory for, your platonic friendships or for romantic relationships, you have to understand and accept people to some degree for who they are. Now, I'm not saying you should be in a romantic relationship where you accept somebody who is just abusive. It's like, oh, they buy me a bunch of stuff, but they're just emotionally abusive. That's a form of acceptance that you shouldn't accept. But for some degree, let's talk about this. In this spiritual community, or in this West Coast kind of, eco-conscious community, they judge a lot of middle Americans because they're not as woke as other people, or they don't, eat a bunch of organic food and things like that. But a lot of people from middle America are the ones who will be throwing, their shirt off their back for you. So, there is some level of understanding, or you might be in a relationship. You might hate the television and be in a relationship with somebody who watches TV but is the most loving and generous person. These are really important lessons from the divine, to understand that some people have different likes and desires than you. And you have, when you are entering a relationship, you have to do some self-actualization to see what will you accept and what won't you. Because on a superficial level, if somebody, say, they watch television programming and you think that's super unconscious, it's like that's not a form of love, because you are judging them based on some superficial thing that they do. And maybe that comes to a point where you just have to learn what you'll accept and what you won't in your own life. But for example, like, we have to come to some point of acceptance on people, and negative qualities. You just accept people for who they are. They might be damaged or, negative human beings that you just don't want them in their life. The second thing is understanding. People are kind of like little kids on a tricycle. They're going to keep trying at certain things in life, but they're going to keep, they might fall down a few times. And just having understanding of someone's own life experience as they're navigating, some understanding of the stress that they have to go through at work. I've seen this a lot, especially in Seattle. I remember one time I was at a coffee shop and there were a bunch of kind of like rich moms together at a table, and they were just bashing their husbands in so many ways. And I felt really bad for their husbands, because these are the people who have to show up to work every day and deal with a bunch of bullshit. And their wives are the recipients of their, economic flourishing. So men and women have a disconnect. There's a reason why that we're different, but we complement each other. But we have to really just understand other people's life's perspectives. If you're not walking in their shoes, you don't understand what it feels like to go through certain things in life. Obviously, if they have harder things, or harder addictions, like being abusive, physically abusive, or being an alcoholic, you can understand what they're going through, but that might not be the type, right, or the type of relationship that you want to enter in your life. And the third thing, the example that I just shared, is appreciation. One of the biggest lessons that I had to learn from divorce was how much I did not appreciate my ex-husband at certain times. I was so wrapped up in wanting to succeed as a writer and all of these things. And there were a lot of moments that I did appreciate him, but I don't think I really appreciated him every day of my life. And that is something, when you go through a form of loss like that, you reflect on all of the lessons that you've learned. And appreciation is one thing I think that most people tend to lose very easily in a love relationship. It's very common for the man to pay. So do you stop saying thank you for that? Or does, the husband, say if the wife is more of that home caretaker person, does he not say thank you for cleaning the apartment? We tend to take things for granted. That just happens in life. We go through ebbs and flows of being very aware, and then other times of being very busy, to where we just forget certain things like gratitude and stuff like that on the small things in life. So I do think these things are the true love triangle. Now, you can take or leave any of this advice as you'd like, but I do believe that accepting people's flaws, like, nobody wants to be changed. And there actually is a quote, I can't read who said this, but there is a quote that says most people need love and acceptance a lot more than they need advice. So just accepting that person for who they are, seeing them for who they are, and then making that judgment call of whether you want to pursue a relationship with them or not. Having some understanding of their own weaknesses, their own life situation, their own stresses, having an understanding for perspectives that are different. And the third one is appreciation, just really appreciating that person. And if you are feeling undervalued and unappreciative, then you need to speak up and have that communication process with the person to be able to try to repair, restore some of those hurt feelings. I think communication is one of the number one failures in life, because certain things, like when we don't feel appreciated, we don't voice that opinion, so those things bubble up and fester inside, and then eventually one day it becomes like a volcano. So yeah, that's the real love triangle. I hope that you have gained a little bit of information from this, and thank you for liking, sharing, and subscribing. If you have any comments, please post them below. I think navigating human relationships is a lot easier to say than to do in reality, because you are dealing with two people's different psychologies, their different way of living, different beliefs and philosophies. So human relationships are not easy, especially today, because we have so much damage and trauma that's happening, especially on this the deeper psychosomatic levels. But have a great day, and hope you enjoy the love triangle. Bye.